Hello, the purpose of this video is to share with you everything you need to know to be successful for Checkpoint 2 on the portfolio in 5 minutes or less. That's my goal. So I've got a couple tips here that I really wanted to share with you as a reviewer for Checkpoint 3. I've done this several times now, and there's things that stand out to me for people's portfolios, and these are some things that I would really like to see you include in your portfolio for Checkpoint 2 and then also for Checkpoint 3. So there's a rubric, and I sent that out to you. So the rubric is a true version of backwards design. Start with that rubric and decide, how am I going to build my portfolio to match that rubric, that assessment. Second thing is to keep your format consistent. So if you're going to list the name of your artifact, what class you completed it in, and then your rationale, and then list your standards, do that for every single artifact and rationale that you do, every single tab that you do. And I'll show you some examples of what that looks like. Type everything in Word first. A little trick, because TaskStream does not have spell check, so there's a lot of times where students don't check their spelling, which looks very unprofessional when things are spelled wrong. So make sure you type everything in TaskStream that you're going to put in TaskStream into a Word document first. Proofread and make sure that your portfolio sounds professional, not conversational. This is a representation of you professionally, and when you share it with us and your peers for checkpoints 2 and 3, that's when you sound conversational, but your writing should sound very professional. Make sure your file names match your artifact name. So I'll show you an example of that. But if you call it lesson plan, but then your artifact is Rainbow Gardens lesson plan, cloud formation, make sure that they match the name of your artifact and the name of your upload. It's just a small detail, but it makes it evident that you notice those things and pay attention to them. I always like when students include the class or the experience in which they created the artifact, because that really helps wrap our brains around as reviewers when in your program you completed that. So that's kind of an interesting thing to include. When you're writing those rationale, the rationale is the hardest thing for students to write. They're all like, how do I write this? I don't understand it. But my advice is to start with some prompts that I'm going to give you, and then also to use the verbiage from the InTask standard in order to build those rationale. So use that verbiage as you're creating the rationale. In the rationale, be sure to explain what artifact you chose, when and why you created it, as I said, and most importantly include the rationale for why you think it showcases your performance or knowledge. So it's really important to make sure that you're explaining why you chose it. Don't just tell me what that artifact is, tell us why you chose it and why it represents your ability to demonstrate either performance or knowledge. I will send these tips to you along with these prompts, so I'm not going to go through them, but I think that these really help. I pulled these out as I was reviewing some portfolios this semester. I chose this artifact because this artifact demonstrates the lesson plan artifact shows. I feel the experience impacted me by. I learned, very simple, but a lot of people forget to tell the reviewers what you learned from this process, and that's really the important thing. I think that this artifact demonstrates my ability to, so those are just some examples. Other tips, include pictures in your rationale. It makes it way more powerful when I can see you up in front teaching or your students working on something, and it's much more fun to review when we get to see pictures. Make it your own. Put your own spin on it. Include the words that you would use. Don't make it stuffy. Make it professional, but yet individual. And then remember that your portfolio is a direct extension of your professionalism. So make it as professional as possible because you want to represent you in the best possible light. So I'm going to pause here so I can pull up a couple example portfolios to share with you. So the first one I have here is actually a PDF. When you get all done, you can download this as a PDF, and it'd be a great addition to your portfolio or collection of things that you give to a potential employer. So you give them your cover letter, your resume, and then you could also attach a PDF copy of your portfolio. So that's just an example for you. But this person, she, under Standard 2, just an example, so she's got the name of her artifact. So that's where she included her name. She listed the standards that this artifact hit. She did not include all of them that were listed in TaskStream. She deselected the ones she didn't need. And then she explained it here. And this is one of the best rationales I've seen in this person's portfolio. She did a beautiful job of explaining things and tying it back to research and talking about what she learned and why she learned it. So this is one example. I'll pause and find another example for you. So this second example, again, consistency is key. She's got the name of the artifact. she's got her standards, she's got her rationale. She included a picture here, like I said, which makes it much more interesting to look at. I would have liked to see the name of the artifact written again down here, just to remind me, and I would also like her to explain what course she did that for. So Rainbow Gardens, we all know that that takes place in the fall, block 1 or block 2, but not everybody knows that. She used words like, I feel the attached lesson plan demonstrates my comprehension. So she explains why she chose that, and then she briefly explains part of that. So like I said, this is the longest rationale I've ever seen written, but she did a beautiful job, and myself and her other reviewer were very impressed, and we actually asked if we could use this as an example. So use this for your good to figure out and learn how you're going to create your own portfolio. I've got a couple more things to share with you. Just a sec. I'm not sure if I paused or not. It might be a little confusing there. The last thing it said I paused, but I started talking. But anyway, my intent here is to share with you an example of a portfolio. I've never seen a student do this where they personalize it by putting colors. I thought that was so cool, and I've never seen anybody do that before. So I would recommend that you make it your own. This is one way to do that. Within this portfolio, I just wanted to show you the beautiful portfolio introduction. So the introduction includes your professional skills, which you don't enter. That's how we grade you in your checkpoint 3. But she's got her picture here. She starts off with some really interesting information, and it's very short and sweet, but it gets to the point of who she is, what her professional and personal goals are as well. And then her resume and her references, it's beautifully formatted. She put a little excerpt and then references and attached those as well. Her philosophy paper, just a little synopsis here of what it is, and then her attachment, little synopsis, attachment. So very professional, very easy to look at. Let me grab another example. We're under standard 1 here, and as you can see, she has under her performance artifact, learner development, a picture of herself, and she also teaching during the Rainbow Gardens, and she also explains what she did and talks about how it met the needs of her learners and why she chose this artifact. Okay, excellent. And then she attaches it, not just one thing, all of the things that were associated with this lesson, and then her standards are down here. You notice how she does that for each one: rationale, attachments or artifacts, and then her standards. So keep that in mind as you're designing your portfolio. Another great example here from standard 9, another picture of her teaching, and this is during her 5-week experience. So she's got something from block 1, something from block 2, just to show her growth. And she talks about, she gives a brief example. I would have liked to see more about what she learned from that experience, because if you read that really quickly, you would see that she just talks about the opportunities that she had, but not how this demonstrates her knowledge or skills as a teacher. But again, rationale, attachments, standards. Very easy to look at and very appealing to the eye. I've got 2 more examples for you. Okay, I know I'm way over 5 minutes, so I'll make this quick. So this person, this is under standard 4, content knowledge, explains what he did here. He's got a picture of his students teaching, and he talks about how he provides some opportunities for his students. He attached the picture down here and that lesson plan, so and then his standards, so consistent throughout. I would say that these rationale are not as lengthy as I would like. Make sure you include those prompts to explain why you chose that artifact. Last one coming up. I don't think I paused that. I'm sorry. But the last thing I wanted to do here was standard 2. He's got the explanation here of what he did. He explains how he connected that to his learning. He attaches it, and he's got the standards there. So again, review those tips that I'm going to send and review the rubric. I'll attach that as well, and those prompts that I talked about. So with those simple tips, you should be able to successfully complete checkpoint 2 and be well on your way to a fantastic portfolio. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.